Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel, Inclusive Bharat, and welcome to the daily editorial analysis of the Hindu newspaper. In this video we shall discuss the important editorial of 18th December 2023. These are the 6 articles taken up for discussion. Let's discuss the article one by one. Let's discuss the first article, the cloudy horizon. The article talks about the recent trade data for India. It mentions a positive trade trend in October, but there's concern as exports fell and imports decreased in November. In November, India's exports of goods went down by 2.8%, reaching $33.9 billion. Imports also decreased by 4.33% to $54.5 billion. The trade deficit, the difference between exports and imports, reduced to $20.6 billion, which is almost one-third less than the record high in October. The decline in imports was notable, even after the Commerce Ministry adjusted the October import estimate downward. Exports, while lower than the previous year, were higher than October, which was the lowest in a year. Despite some ups and downs, it's clear that India's exports have been at their lowest in the past year over the last 2 months. The significant drop in imports in November is attributed to factors like decreased demand for expensive items and lower global prices for products like petroleum. Economists expect the trade deficit to stay between $20 billion and $25 billion for the remaining 4 months of the year. There's uncertainty due to fluctuations in import values seen in recent months. Understanding the trade data is challenging due to frequent changes and corrections in the numbers. For example, the trade deficit in August was adjusted by nearly $3 billion, and there have been substantial revisions in trade data since July. The article suggests that the government needs to improve its handling of data to make better decisions. Officials hope for an increase in exports in the final quarter of the year, similar to trends in previous years. The article mentions global factors like the World Trade Organization expecting stronger global trade in 2024 and the US Federal Reserve signaling potential interest rate cuts. India needs to compete better with other countries to benefit from these global trends. A government study indicates a slight drop in logistics costs over the past decade. Ongoing infrastructure projects may further reduce these costs, but the article suggests that reducing petroleum prices, in line with global trends, would enhance competitiveness more effectively. In summary, the article discusses the recent challenges in India's trade, the reasons behind the fluctuations, the uncertainties in predicting future trends, and the need for better government data management and competitiveness to benefit from global economic improvements. Let's discuss the next article. An uphill struggle to grow the Forest Rights Act. The Forest Rights Act, FRA, enacted in 2006, aimed to resolve conflicts over forest land and create a more democratic approach to forest governance. However, its implementation has faced challenges like political opportunism, resistance from foresters, bureaucratic indifference, and misinformation. Before British rule in India, local communities had customary rights over nearby forests. But colonial policies disrupted these traditions, considering forests as state property for timber. This led to various injustices, such as banning traditional cultivation, incomplete land surveys favoring the state, and the creation of forest villages with forced labor. Post-independence, forest areas were declared state property without considering residents, leading to accusations of encroachment. Displaced communities had no alternatives, and forest exploitation continued in the name of national interest. The Forest Rights Act acknowledges these historical injustices and aims to address them in 3 ways. Individual forest rights, IFRs, recognizing the rights of individuals to continue living in and using the forests as they did before December 2005. Village community rights, acknowledging the rights of village communities to access, use, and manage forests, including in sanctuaries and national parks. Democratic process for wildlife conservation, establishing a democratic procedure to decide if and where wildlife conservation might limit or extinguish community rights. Communities also have a say in forest diversion and a right to compensation. However, the implementation has been flawed. Some states focused only on individual rights, treating it as an encroachment regularization scheme. The recognition of individual and community rights was often compromised by resistance from the Forest Department, apathy from other departments, and the misuse of technology. The most significant challenge lies in the slow and incomplete recognition of community rights to access and manage forests, community forest rights or CFRs. The forest bureaucracy opposes these rights, and only a few states have substantially recognized them. States like Maharashtra, Odisha, and Chhattisgarh have made progress in recognizing community rights, but challenges persist. Maharashtra, for instance, has enabled the activation of community rights, but some areas face illegal non-recognition due to mining interests. As political regimes change, there are calls to shut down FRA implementation. Some states talk about saturating rights recognition, but mission mode implementation often leads to distorted rights recognition and technocratic control by the Forest Department. To address historical injustices, democratize forest governance, and unlock the potential for community-led conservation and sustainable livelihoods, it's crucial for political leaders, bureaucrats, and environmentalists to understand and appreciate the spirit and intent of the Forest Rights Act. Let's move on to the next article. The stormy Red Sea, the complexities of global events. There was a terror attack by Hamas on Israel, causing instability. The Houthi militia from Yemen, supported by Iran, joined the conflict to help Gaza. This puts the Red Sea, a vital trade route, in the middle of the problem. Houthis attacked a cargo ship with alleged Israeli ties in the Red Sea. Red Sea is crucial for global trade, 15% of it, especially the Suez Canal. Saudi Arabia's important city Neom and oil shipments are linked to the Red Sea. More commercial ships are facing Houthi attacks. The US is actively countering these threats with military force. The US wants a multinational task force in the Bab al-Mandab Strait to secure the region. Saudi Arabia, despite the conflict with Houthis, is urging the US to show restraint. Saudi Arabia is now talking with the Houthi leaders, thanks to a Saudi-Iran deal facilitated by China. The Red Sea crisis affects Asian economies like India, Japan, South Korea, and China. India, Japan, and South Korea are particularly concerned due to their dependence on oil and gas from the region. The US is asking allies to join efforts to address the situation, similar to past cooperation against piracy near Somalia. Non-state militant groups are gaining strength, sometimes supported by states for their own goals. The Red Sea situation reflects a changing world where traditional power dynamics may not be enough. Countries like India need to adapt and be more flexible in addressing security challenges beyond their immediate concerns. In essence, the article highlights the complex situation in the Red Sea, involving regional conflicts, global economic implications, and the changing nature of geopolitical power. It stresses the need for coordinated international efforts to address the challenges posed by non-state actors and evolving global dynamics. Let's move on to the next article. One person, one vote, one value. The article discusses the concept of political equality in democracies, focusing on the importance of ensuring that every citizen's vote carries equal weight. It emphasizes that not only should everyone have the opportunity to participate in political decision-making, but their votes should also have equal value. The article introduces the idea that the right to vote can be weakened in two ways. Quantitatively, unequal weight due to population differences, and qualitatively, reducing a voter's chance of electing their preferred representative through boundary manipulation, known as gerrymandering. To prevent dilution, the Constitution has safeguards. It mandates that the population ratio among constituencies should be as equal as possible. Parliament has the power to make laws regarding constituency boundaries, delimitation, and a commission, led by a retired Supreme Court judge, ensures fairness. Reserved seats for scheduled castes and tribes are also considered during delimitation. The government has formed delimitation commissions over the years to adjust constituency boundaries. Each commission aimed to maintain fair representation, but some faced challenges, such as freezing population figures until the 2001 census and limiting the power to increase the number of seats. Population growth varies among states. Some, like Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh, have grown significantly, affecting the value of votes. For instance, an MP in Uttar Pradesh represents more people than an MP in Tamil Nadu, leading to quantitative dilution. Gerrymandering can qualitatively dilute vote values, especially affecting minority representation. The article mentions three strategies: cracking, dividing minority areas; stacking, submerging minorities in majority areas; and packing, concentrating minorities in specific areas. It highlights instances where delimitation affected Muslim representation negatively. The article concludes by emphasizing the need for the next delimitation commission to address both quantitative and qualitative dilution. It stresses the urgency of the matter, as further delays may worsen the imbalance in population representation ratios. Let's move on to the next article. On selecting election commissioners. On December 12, 2023, the Rajya Sabha passed a bill related to the appointment of the Chief Election Commissioner, SEC, and other election commissioners. The bill is likely to become a law after approval from the Lok Sabha in the current winter session. According to Article 324 of the Indian Constitution, the Election Commission of India, ECI, consists of the SEC and 2 other ECs. The President appoints them, but there's no specific law outlining the procedure for appointments. In March 2023, the Supreme Court acknowledged a legislative gap of 73 years in laws related to the appointment of the second ECs. It emphasized the need for independence in the appointment process and suggested a committee-based approach. Committees like the Dinesh Goswami Committee and the Law Commission had earlier recommended a committee consisting of the Prime Minister, Chief Justice of India, CJI, and Leader of the Opposition for appointments. The Supreme Court, using its powers, mandated the appointment of the second ECs by a committee comprising the Prime Minister, CJI, and Leader of the Opposition until Parliament made a law. The new bill suggests a structured mechanism for identifying suitable candidates. A search committee, led by the Minister of Law and Justice, will prepare a panel of candidates for the selection committee. The President will appoint the second EC based on the recommendation of the selection committee, consisting of the Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition, and a Union Cabinet Minister nominated by the Prime Minister. Unlike the Supreme Court's interim solution, the CJI is excluded from the selection process in the proposed law. Various democracies have different methods for selecting members of electoral bodies, involving different authorities and approval processes. While the bill shifts from a purely executive decision to a committee-based selection, it is seen as leaning towards the current government. The Supreme Court's earlier suggestion to involve the CJI in the selection committee was not retained in the bill. The article suggests that public confidence in the Election Commission would be high if selections under the new law are made unanimously by the selection committee. Let's move on to the next article. An overview of European Union's Artificial Intelligence Act. The European Union, EU, has introduced a set of rules called the EU AI Act to control how artificial intelligence, AI, is used. This is the world's first law about AI, and it aims to make sure AI is used in a way that's safe, fair, and follows certain rules. The goal of the EU AI Act is to create rules for AI, reduce risks, and give clear instructions to the people who make AI, the people who use it, and the people who decide on the rules. They want to make sure AI is used responsibly and doesn't harm people's rights. The strengths are risk-based approach. The law looks at different types of AI and sets rules based on how much risk they might have. This helps make sure the rules are fair and match the different ways AI can affect society. Prohibitions. The law says no to certain uses of AI that could be bad, like using AI to spy on people or make decisions that might not be fair. Transparency and accountability. People who make AI must be clear about what their AI can and can't do. They also have to keep records so the government can check if they're following the rules. Conformity assessment. Some types of AI that might be risky, like medical AI, need to be checked by an independent group to make sure they're safe and follow the rules. The limitations are: some people worry that it's hard to decide exactly what counts as risky AI. Also, they're concerned that these strict rules might make it difficult for European companies to compete with companies in other parts of the world. Small companies might have a hard time following all the rules. Let's see the potential implications. The EU AI Act might influence how AI is used not only in Europe, but also in other parts of the world. It's like a big example that other places might follow. The law tries to make sure AI is used in a way that's fair and respects everyone's rights. How it affects innovation and competition depends on finding the right balance between rules and letting people come up with new ideas. From the administration side, people can tell the government if someone isn't following the rules. Each EU country has people who will check and make sure the rules are followed. There are limits on how much fines can be for smaller companies, and there's a special office in the EU to take care of AI-related things. The EU AI Act is a big deal because it's the first time a group of countries has made rules for AI. It wants to make sure AI is used in a way that's good for everyone and follows some important rules. However, there are challenges to making sure the rules are fair and don't stop new ideas. The impact of this law might be felt not just in Europe but in many other places around the world. So that's all for the day. If you like my initiative, do like and share this video to your peer group. And subscribe to the channel for further updates. Thank you.